Sir, I don't get it.
What is it, Commander Fives?
The rainbow. Why are conservative Christians so on about getting the rainbow back? Like, it's a rainbow. They're there for everyone.
Oh, Fives, it sounds like you don't know who Jehovah God created the rainbow for.
So, this is another Caleb and Sophia episode.
Oh no, this is a special story time. Let me get my book and see if I can explain the rainbow to you, Commander.
This won't end well.
We would be honored if you would join us. Hi Padawans and Cadets, it's your uncle Darth Magog here, and today we're going to be reading my book of Bible stories. Today's story should answer Commander Five's question about where rainbows come from and who they belong to.
I have a bad feeling about this.
Our story begins with story number 8. It's called Giants in the Earth.
Wait, don't you mean on the...
If someone were walking toward you and he were as tall as the ceiling in your house, what would you think? That person would be a giant. At one time, there really were giants on the earth. The Bible shows that their fathers were angels from heaven. But how could that be? Remember, the bad angel Satan was busy making trouble. He was even trying to get God's good angels to be bad. In time, some of these angels started to listen to Satan. They stopped the work that God had for them to do in heaven, and they came down to earth and made human bodies for themselves. Do you know why? The Bible says that it is because these sons of God saw the pretty women on the earth and wanted to live with them. So they came to earth and married these women. The Bible says that this was wrong because God made the angels to live in heaven. Also kind of weird that they would only be attracted to the women and only turned into men. No lesbian angels apparently, especially since angels are depicted as genderless eldritch abominations in the Bible, like at Revelation chapter 4 verse 8. And Ezekiel chapter 1 verse 16 through 18. Oh, and never forget Ezekiel chapter 10 verse 14. But I guess these angels were just regular handsome guys or whatever. So, here we are. Anyway, when the angels and their wives had babies, these babies were different. At first, they may not have looked very different, but they kept growing bigger and bigger and getting stronger and stronger until they became giants. These giants were bad. Because they were so big and strong, they would hurt people. They tried to force everyone to be bad like themselves. Again, not clear on why. I guess gigantism just makes you evil for no discernible reason. Even though their angelic fathers had literally lived with God and apparently just never taught their kids right from wrong, who knew? Enoch had died, but there was one man on earth now who was good. This man's name was Noah. He always did what God wanted him to do. One day, God told Noah that the time had come for him to destroy all the bad people. But God was going to save Noah, his family, and many of the animals. Let's see how God did this. Will it be with a magic anti-giant plague, perhaps a mass education and communication to the people, or even a Thanos snapping of the bad people out of existence? Oh, I can't wait to find out. Let's go to story number 9, Noah builds an ark. Noah had a wife and 3 sons. His sons' names were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And each of these sons had a wife. So there were 8 people in Noah's family. Their wives probably had names, but evidently that's not important right now, even though we named the sons. God now had Noah do a strange thing. He told him to build a big ark. This ark was like a ship, but it looked more like a big long box. Make it 3 floors high, God said, and put some rooms in it. The rooms were for Noah and his family, the animals, and the food all of them would need. God also told Noah to fix up the ark so no water could leak in. God said, I am going to send a great flood of water and destroy the whole world. Everyone not in the ark will die. Noah and his sons obeyed Jehovah and started building. But the other people just laughed. They kept on being bad. Nobody believed Noah when he told them what God was going to do. Which is weird because in this world there were literal supergiants walking around and angels who lived in heaven in human form who knew Jehovah and probably knew he was not above wiping out an entire species. But yeah, they ignored him, I guess. It took a long time to build the Ark because it was so big. Finally, after many years, it was finished. Some odd 75 if the Bible is to be believed. Now God told Noah to bring the animals into the ark. God said to bring in 2 of some kinds of animals, both a male and a female. But of other kinds of animals, God told Noah to bring in 7. God also told Noah to bring in all the different kinds of birds. Noah did just what God said. Got animal kinds, not species, because apparently that's too specific a scientific measurement. Afterward, Noah and his family also went into the ark. Then God shut the door. Inside, Noah and his family waited. Just imagine you are there in the ark waiting with them. Would there really be a flood as God said? Well, you'd hope so. Otherwise, someone made a 600-year-old senior citizen waste his life herding animals and building a floating zoo for no reason. But we'll discuss that here in story number 10, The Great Flood. Outside the ark, the people went about their life the same as before. They did not believe that the flood would come. They must have laughed more than ever, but they soon stopped laughing. All of a sudden, water began to fall. It poured down from the sky as when you pour water from a bucket. Noah had been right, but it was too late now for anyone else to get into the ark. The door had been closed tight by Jehovah. Soon all the low ground was covered. The water became like big rivers. It pushed over trees and rolled around big stones and made lots of noise. The people were afraid. They climbed up to higher ground. Oh, how they wished they had listened to Noah and gotten into the ark when the door was still open for them. But now it was too late. The water kept getting higher and higher. For 40 days and 40 nights, the water poured out of the sky. It rose up the sides of the mountains, and soon even the tallest mountains were covered. So just as God had said, all the people and animals outside the ark died. But everyone inside was safe. Again, not clear on why all the other animals had died, since specifically he said he regretted creating man, which was also weird because half of this mess was because the angels went rogue, but no time to consider that now. Right now, let's be proud of Noah. Noah and his sons had done a good job building the ark. The water lifted it up, and it floated right on top of the water. Then, one day, after the rain stopped falling, the sun began to shine. What a sight it was! There was just one big ocean everywhere, and the only thing that could be seen was the ark floating on top. The giants were gone now. No more would they be around to hurt people. All of them had died, along with their mothers and the rest of the bad people. But what had happened to their fathers? The fathers of the giants were not really human people like us. They were angels that had come down to live as men on earth. So when the flood came, they did not die with the rest of the people. They stopped using the human bodies they had made and went back to heaven as angels. But they were no longer allowed to be part of the family of God's angels. So they became the angels of Satan. In the Bible, they are called demons. But Jehovah let them live there anyway for some 2,900 more years. And despite him wiping out mankind and the animals who legitimately hadn't done anything, Jehovah was satisfied with the demons simply abandoning their human bodies and didn't do any other punishments. Like, I don't know, eradicating them right there on the spot to prevent a repeat. No way that could fucking backfire. God now made a wind blow, and the waters of the flood began to go down. 5 months later, the ark would come to rest on top of a mountain. Many more days passed, and those inside the ark could look out and see the tops of the mountains. The waters kept on going down and down. Then Noah let a blackbird called a raven out of the ark. It would fly away for a while and then would come back because it could not find a place to land. It kept doing this, and each time it returned, it would rest on the ark. Noah wanted to see if the waters had run off the earth, so he sent a dove out of the ark. Not sure why he swapped out the raven, but whatever. But the dove came back too because it did not find a place to stay. Noah sent it out a second time, and it brought back an olive leaf in its beak. So Noah knew that the waters had gone down. Noah sent out the dove a third time, and it finally found a dry place to live, and food, despite the flood waters certainly having drowned all vegetation, and possibly killing the vast majority of sea life with incorrect pH and salinity balances. I guess God didn't have the wherewithal to just sort out evil humans and angels, but went out of his way to protect the plants and marine life. God now spoke to Noah. He said, "Go out of the ark. Take your whole family and the animals with you." They had been inside the ark for more than a whole year, so we can just imagine how happy they all were to be outside again and to be alive. Especially since there's no way in space they could have managed food and water for a year for all those animals with just 8 people, without any of the animals fighting for territory, fighting for food, or even mating and giving birth, throwing their ration storage into chaos.
So the shtick is brilliant here, but I really need to know, what the hell does this have to do with rainbows?
I'm getting to that, Commander. Please be patient while I read Story 11, The First Rainbow. Do you know the first thing that Noah did when he and his family came out of the ark? He made an offering or a gift to God. You can see him doing this in the picture on screen. Noah offered a gift of animals to thank God for saving his family from the great flood that God literally caused himself. Do you think Jehovah was pleased with the gift? Yes, he was. Not clear why, God doesn't eat, but neither do I, and I love the smell of barbecue. So, point to God, I guess. And he promised Noah that he would never destroy the world again by a flood. Specifically a flood. Oddly specific that he mentioned that. Soon the land was dried off, and Noah and his family began a new life outside the ark. God blessed them and told them, "You must have many children. You must increase in numbers until people live all over the earth." But later, when people would hear about the great flood, they might be afraid that a flood like that would happen again. So God gave something that would remind people of his promise never to flood the whole earth again. Do you know what he gave to remind them? It was a rainbow. A rainbow is often seen in the sky when the sun shines after it has rained. Rainbows have many beautiful colors. Have you ever seen one? Do you see the one in the picture? This is what God said. "I promise never again will all the people and the animals be destroyed by a flood. I'm putting my rainbow in the clouds, and when the rainbow appears, I will see it and remember this promise of mine." Because apparently God needs a refraction of light through water to remember not to commit an apocalyptic event, specifically with water. He might do it by earth, wind, and fire, but no flood though. He's cool like that. So when you see a rainbow, what should it remind you of? Yes, God's promise that he will never destroy the world again by a great flood. Again, not promising anything else, just a highly specific way to avoid genocide, I guess. Because reasons. Anyway, the end.
So God promised not to destroy the world again.
Nope, he certainly will destroy it again. He just won't do the whole boat thing again. Might be too easy for people to believe now, I guess.
Right. Okay, so what did all this accomplish?
God destroyed all the evil on Earth.
But there's still evil on the earth. There's still violent, unethical, greedy, harmful people all over the world.
Yeah, I guess.
And this is supposedly after the flood.
Well, that's because the demons have an influence, of course.
The demons? The ones that God drowned the world for, but when it came time to vaporize them, he just didn't bother doing it?
I mean, he'll get to it, probably, maybe.
And ultimately, all humankind got out of this is the rainbow, which conservative Christians like Jehovah's Witnesses want to have, because it reminds them that their God won't kill them all, specifically with a year-long flood, but doesn't exclude anything like a supervolcano, mega-earthquake, gigantic windstorm, new ice age, or any other new apocalyptic level event. Do I have that right?
That's exactly right, Fives. Well done.